Harmful opinions is God. Harmful opinions is God. Harmful opinions is God. Harmful opinions is God.
I've been accused many times recently of being a crazy conspiracy theorist for the videos I made about Candid, the anonymous app that invites you to speak freely and receive unfiltered opinions, but then doesn't really give you that. In particular, these accusations are thanks to the parts of my videos where I said, "This bit's for conspiracy theorists and tinfoilers, and I don't think this is likely to be true." Fuck me for having some fun and suggesting wild stuff, right? I've never done that in a video before, but still, to make up for it to those who were annoyed, I'm gonna suggest a conspiracy theory about myself. I think that'll even everything out. So this one's for you, Bindu Reddy, CEO of Candid. This one's for all the shills wearing tinfoil. Here's a conspiracy theory for you. What if people like, say, I don't know, Bering, just to pick a random name, have been working with me this whole time, and the reason I made 4 somewhat repetitive videos was because I saw you cracking a bit more each time, and based on the info I'd been leaked by a handful of people, I could tell I was pushing you in the right direction to fuck up like you have now done. Of course, that's not what's happened at all, and if you believe it is what's happened, you're just crazy and paranoid. There is no evidence of anything like that having happened. And if there was evidence of that, I'm sure Candid's CTO would have found it. You see, when people criticize Candid, he digs into them. I'd love to show you more about this, but Mark Kern, the person Candid's CTO was looking into, felt so intimidated that he thought he needed to delete all his commentary on Candid. What I can show you, though, is Candid's CEO making a comment about this CTO's behavior. After Notch tweeted at someone alluding to this having happened, Candid's CEO popped out of nowhere to say, "We didn't do that at all. And in fact, I got my CTO to delete the tweet and calm down." I'm quite impressed. That is the most pleasant way I've ever heard someone say, "I got him to delete the evidence and stop intimidating our critics." Somewhat bizarrely, the CEO also ended up talking to my mother, who's a social media addict like I am. Bindu, the CEO of Candid, was trying to suggest that my mother is my alternative account and that she has people, monitoring her and giving her anonymous tips. Again, I'd just like to remind you, I'm the one being called a paranoid conspiracy theorist. There was also something to do with one of her marketers that creeped one of my viewers out. When I asked her about that in a longer email, her response began with, "Hey Tim, I am not very good with emails." Where the fuck did they find this person? Anyway, I'm going to crack on, because this isn't the most interesting stuff that's gone down. So much has happened. It's almost unbelievable. Where to really get started? I guess we'll begin with highlights from Bering's stream with Candid's CEO. There will be a link to the full thing in the description, but I must warn you that if you don't want to know Bering's real name, then you shouldn't watch the beginning, as the CEO of this privacy-focused app says it multiple times. After we're done combing through that, if I've missed anything major, it will be stuck on at the end. Sound good? Good. Here's the first question of mine that Bering asked her.
All right, well, shall we get into some of the questions?
Of course, please go for it.
Right, so the first one is from Harmful Opinions, and he asks, are the YouTubers you had signed contracts with you allowed to say whatever they want? Will there be any consequences? Will you go after them?
Thanks, Harmful Opinions, for that question.
No problem. Anytime. And it's a pretty simple one, right? It shouldn't take literally 2 minutes to answer, should it? And yet, it did. I'm just going to let you listen to this answer, because nothing I could add would improve it.
Yes. The way this works is YouTubers we work with do have agreements with us, and most of the time they're allowed to say whatever they want on their YouTube channels. The agreements really typically cover the sponsored video, and as well as they're even in the sponsored video, they're actually allowed to say more or less whatever they want. We try to be pretty open, and we try to give creative control to most of our YouTubers, because that's the point. I think Bering himself has done one. We do have a document which gives you some high-level guidelines about
Bindu, I think you mentioned that before, but you just partially doxed me. Thanks for that.
I doxed you.
I'm only you said my first name. Nobody knows my first name, but that's all right. Let's
I'm so
continue.
sorry. I'll stick to Bering. I am so sorry. So yes, Bering. We do give people some high level talking points. We do want them to be as creative as possible, and they are allowed to pretty much say whatever they want. Right. There is also, I mean, if the question is there any kind of non-disparagement clause against Candid? Yes, there is also a non-disparagement clause against Candid. I have to look exactly into the agreement to tell you, how long it is for, but I think it's for some period of time. I don't think it's forever. For what?
For 2 years. Yeah, and just as a side note, in order to be able to approach this stream impartially, we've waived that non-disparagement clause in my contract for the duration of this stream, haven't we?
Exactly. So we have basically said we have wiped that out, and yes. And if the question was, is there a non-disparagement clause? Yes, there is. If the question is, they can say whatever they want. Yes, typically they can say whatever they want in any of their videos. Can they specifically disparage Candid? No.
So the answer is no. The YouTubers who've signed a contract with Candid cannot say whatever they want. Here she is saying their contracts impose a restriction. At least one. Now, perhaps having realized that, making it public knowledge that free speech advocates have been signing contracts for cash that restrict their speech makes this stuff look really, really bad, she's backpedaling on Twitter, telling me not everyone's contract's the same, they're all different, blah blah blah, but it's a self-contradictory mess, much like her answer here, and she won't specify who's allowed to say what. Speaking of self-contradictory messes and what people are allowed to say, there's another question of mine Bering asks her later in the interview.
The next question is from Harmful Opinions himself again. He'd like to know, did Candid sponsor any YouTubers to make counter videos when it started to be talked about a lot?
No, we did not make sponsor any YouTubers to make counter videos. We specifically were in conversations with multiple YouTubers at that time already. As you probably know, we've been talking to a lot of them. A lot of them were, were kind of like, oh, what is this Harmful Opinions video? Should we actually do a counter video? Should we actually, say this? And repeatedly, and you can ask them, I've asked them to not go or attack Harmful Opinions in any way. I have asked people to refute some claims.
So she hasn't sponsored any YouTubers to make counter videos dealing with the controversy following my video, but she has sponsored YouTubers to make videos in which she's asked them to refute some claims. Okay, this is a bit of a rabbit hole. Where to start? What's an example she gives of one of the things she paid someone to do?
I have asked people to refute some claims. Some people have said, oh, you know what? I've heard that, the AI is going to take over. And I'm like, that's not true. It's just an app.
And here's a clip from the sponsored video they paid some black guy to make.
But one thing I want to say to the people that are watching this, and especially my audience, just keep this in mind. It's just an app.
It's just an app.
On top of that, some black guy describes his own video as damage control. They didn't approach anyone to make any counter videos to deal with controversy, though.
No, we're not approaching anyone to attack anyone. And in fact, we never even approach anyone to say, can you refute the claim?
Sure. Continuing on that subject, Ahmed Skeptic was given money by them for a very strange video called Censored Opinions, which he confirmed along with apparently everything else in the video is a reference to me, which is fine by me, but if you're being paid cash to do it and the people who are paying you cash are saying, no, We're not sponsoring any counter videos to Harmful Opinions. It doesn't look great. And just as a side note, want to know what doesn't look great either?
Candid staff is teaching the bot how to tell the difference between something that has been proven to be true and something that has not necessarily been determined as completely factual. As a skeptic, I can only endorse this feature.
As a skeptic, I can only endorse this bot that a weird company is claiming will be able to tell what's true or not. On Twitter, ironically, the CEO confirmed to me that the bot will be using Twitter and Wikipedia to decide what's true or rumor. Ahmed Skeptic, mate, you've been doing a bit too much jousting with the other knights, hit your head a few too many times. As a skeptic, you can only endorse that. Seriously, no doubts whatsoever about a bot that's going to decide what's true or not based on Twitter and Wikipedia. None at all. But it gets better, and please bear in mind, this isn't so much about the shills as it is about what this company's doing, Candid. Because yeah, it is just an app, but they're trying to make it huge. That's why they're spending so much on advertising. And I'd rather not let it become a huge fucking problem, run by shady creeps. So I have some more to show you. Someone, who will not be named, came to me and told me they were approached about making a, quote, counter video, which is why I was suspicious about Mundane Matt's video, Shoes video, especially Shoes video after she'd helped me test their filter on Twitter. Especially Shoes video after she'd helped me test Candid's filter and then deleted everything she'd said and only reposted it after I asked where the hell it went. Wonder if her comments were determined to be disparaging. Anyone who'd taken Candid's money became very suspicious, and then Ahmed Skeptic's video came out. And at the same time that happened, the amazing atheist, who's done 7 sponsored videos, 2 for Candid and then 5 for related products, started defending it on Twitter at the same time. So I messaged these guys about the idea of counter videos and told them a source had told me they were approached about making one, and they were also told that other people were already making them. I decided I wanted to give Ahmed Skeptic an opportunity to say something to me before I made a video saying, I know counter vids are being made, look at this Ahmed Skeptic video. He did not email me, but he did tell me this. Are you sure you won't represent my perspective? To be honest, I wanted to talk to you about this a while back, but after you sent Bindu a tweet from that black guy where he used the term damage control to mock her and out him, I decided it was best to just not take the chance you'd do the same to me. I said, you have my email address. Anything you send me will be read, as in out loud when I cover this again. The last thing I heard from him that wasn't in tweet form was, very good. Here you go. Hope it's still very good. I also sent a very similar message to the amazing atheist. His response was quite different. He said, my only statement to you is that you're a total cunt and that you should go fuck yourself. Put that in your video, faggot. You're lucky Candid rejected my video on the subject as too harsh. Your video on the subject? Wait. So you were doing a counter video. Bindu said she didn't have anyone doing them. And Candid rejected it, so you were doing it for them, right? Another thing that's great is he sort of had a bit of a tantrum on Twitter after I did this. Went into maximum overshill. At a time when YouTube is cracking down on channels by demonetizations them, Harmful Opinions is attacking those who do advertise with us. Funny story, my videos criticizing Candid, they were demonetized. I put in an appeal and that flag's been undone. But dude, hey, if you're really worried about demonetization, stifling certain views, please, I'd appreciate a hand amplifying my criticism of Candid that YouTube demonetized. If that's really what you care about. And if you're allowed to do that while you say you're still on Candid's payroll. A claim, by the way, that Candid's CEO doesn't seem to deny. After she complained about what people who follow me on Twitter say, I told her she can't really complain. After a guy who claims to be on her payroll called me a faggot, retard and cunt. And her response wasn't, he's not on our payroll or anything like that. It was simply, I never asked him to say that. Anyway, after I'd had that little scuffle with the amazing atheist and before that tweet I'd just shown you, Bindu was really interested in knowing where I got my info from. One of the emails she sent me said this. You said someone from our side. Our side? You mean the dark side? Approached someone to make a counter video. We have never approached anyone to make a counter video. I'm asking you, where did you get that information from? We have never asked anyone to attack you or counter you. If anything, we are asking people to not attack you, and I agreed to come on stream. About that stream. Bindu is really sensitive about comments. She's one of those people who says stuff like, honestly, what's wrong with turning comments off when you know there are going to be thousands of name-calling? Yes, this is the CEO of a social media platform. Great. And this was actually in reference to a stream I'd arranged with her. We'd set a time and everything, and I'd made the event on YouTube. Well, she'd gone and looked, and she wasn't very happy with what she saw. Here's another of her emails. I only asked you if you were willing to make a video to clear up some of the issues. This is regarding her getting in contact following my first video. She was going to try to get a hand into what I was saying about Candid. No, fuck off. I'm not going to talk to you privately after trying to pull stuff like that. Do you understand how fucking shady that is? Anyway, let's continue. Just like I asked you about the live stream. While you first interest your audience, it doesn't mean you shouldn't ask me about posting my DMs online. I see a ton of very hateful things said to me already in the comments and tweets, including stuff about my butt, etc., etc. How are you proposing to handle that type of stuff? Is the idea that anyone can debase me on the stream? How long will the stream be? How will B handle someone saying things? I am a total bitch or whatever else. Or is the plan not to handle it and make fun of me? Clearly, I don't want to go on stream and have everyone call me all kinds of things without even bothering to listen. I see that you have tweeted and told everyone that they can say whatever they please on your comments. Yeah, they can. They can even insult me, which Nice Cat Dasher did on Twitter. He made a joke at my expense, and then Bindu said how offended she was and blocked him. Before I forget, let's just drop one more quick thing. Couple months ago, Candid took an ad out on Reddit. They made a sponsored post, and they did originally have comments open. You can see them responding to some stuff. It didn't go great though, and now the comments are disabled. Speak your mind freely, just not here, or on Candid actually. Here's what the CEO said near the end of Bering's stream.
We do have guidelines around how, what you can say about Candid on Candid.
Guidelines presumably enforced by their bot. Just imagine if the CEO of Twitter came out talking about their bot that will remove stuff that breaks the rules, and then said about how, you got to be careful about what you say on Twitter about Twitter. Cars would be fucking burning in the streets. Well, maybe not that far, but people would be pissed. Does this sound like a social media site or app you want to see succeed? And speaking of the rule enforcement bot, let's get back to Bering's stream.
That probably leads onto a relevant question. Someone asked, they tested it and typed in a couple of posts. The first was kill all white people, and the second was kill all black people. And the kill all black people was removed, but the kill all white people wasn't.
Yes, that's I guess Harmful Opinions and basically highlighted that in his video. And really what happened there was our AI had, kind of learned for sure that something, because that something against black people was bad. And it also got, the trigger word there to some extent was kill. And so it did learn that for sure was bad. Now, what our AI does is it doesn't necessarily think, the one which wasn't removed, it's not because it was, it was okay that it wasn't removed. It was because it didn't catch it, right? Because there just wasn't, so far in the history of our, of our app, we hadn't seen that many anti-white things, and which is why the white thing stayed up. And this doesn't mean that over time that'll get better. So we try, I think after he pointed it out, we have fixed it, and it will get better. And that's why it happened. It's just that it had gotten that much more kind of, black people type of posts, which is why it learned that.
So they are using the people who use Candid to train their censorship bot, and it isn't going great, and it is creating a bias in the bot. Cool. It's at this point that I'd like to say Bering should be thanked for this stream. I'm seeing some people calling him like a doubling down shill for doing it. Listen to it. Listen to what he's done, the beautiful cunt. Let's just say you don't get these answers accidentally. Carrying on, I realize this is slightly jumbled, but it's just because there's so much shit to wade through. So I think next I'll point out some hypocrisy. Here is the CEO's explanation of why Candid exists.
Right? If you're anonymous, you don't have consequences to what you say. If you're not anonymous, people are going to be like, oh, she said this or she said that, and I can go after her her through her employment, or I can go after her husband or what have you. So the context of speaking your mind freely was to be able to say things which were controversial, which were dissenting, which were like not really like allowed for in society as it stands today, to be able to say those kinds of things.
If you didn't know anything else about this app or these people, that sounds really good. Great, that is a benefit of anonymity, no matter where you're engaging in an anonymous speech. But here's the thing, she's trying to present that as something that shouldn't happen, I guess. We shouldn't live in a society where people go round and if you've said something, they tell people and talk shit. Right, she doesn't think it's a good thing that you need something like Candid. Well, I have a question for Bindu. Why did Teal Deer, another YouTuber, come to me and tell me you were talking shit about me when you were talking to him about having him make a video? He also told me you made sure to use my real name, which is totally public, but why did you go out of your way to say that, especially if you are trying to make a service to protect people from this kind of consequence of saying stuff using their real name? Why should anyone believe that you stand for what you stand for when you do this? When you approach my peers and bitch about how my videos are appearing next to sponsored videos and it annoys you, and that, I think you said I'm a conspiracy theorist and I'm just trying to rip off you people to get views. What are you trying to do by paying YouTubers, Bindu? I don't think you can complain even if that's what I'm doing. Maybe I should have used Candid to say it anonymously so you couldn't talk shit about me. Hey, I found this hot new app called Candid. You can use it to say things without Candid's CEO going around talking shit about you. She doesn't seem that stable or rock solid in her defense of free speech. Or it's hard to tell where she's coming from. Check this out. She carries on from saying what she just said.
Today in these comments, most of these comments actually, a lot of them are from anonymous people, and and they're like people like calling me the C word, the B word, and everything. And you know what? They can say that right now because they're anonymous, right? If they actually had their name on there and that they call me the C word, and I could click on it and I could go check out where they were employed, I could send in a little note to their boss. Hey, this is what this person said to me on social media publicly. We've had this happen multiple times. They lose their job in a day. Their livelihood is gone. Just that one comment on YouTube. Here I see cancer, cunt, toadies, bullshit. Most of that is anonymous, right? And that is the beauty of anonymity in some ways. And we want to make sure that this is an anonymous platform where you can have open discussions.
So, to her, part of the beauty of anonymity is that people can make those comments without getting in trouble, but she wanted me to moderate my chat if she was going to come on my stream? So is it good or bad that people can say that when they're anonymous?
I wanted to do the stream with the harmful opinions, and I saw his tweet, and he's basically he was like, hey, you can get on and you can like comment on and she's going to be on stream, and people started saying the most horrendous things, and they were very sexual in nature. They were unwarranted personal insults, and I felt like it would be supremely distracting to me, and then I was like, hey, how are we going to handle that? And he was like, that's it, if you don't want to deal with this comments, you're gone. And see, even now I see the C word. I mean, it's C word, N word, N word, N word. These are the comments. And, it's very difficult to focus and have a conversation, with anyone if that was going on. So I was basically like, hey, can we do this stream without the comments, or how are you going to handle it? And he basically said he was not going to do the stream anymore.
Yeah, you're right. No stream without the chat on. If there is an option to give my audience a chat box, I give it to them. And no private phone call beforehand, because based on what I know, based on what I've seen, I don't trust you to not say something fucked up off the record. She's welcome to come on a stream. That means we arrange a time, and then when it comes time, 10-15 minutes before, I send her a link to the Hangout, and then we go live when the time comes around. Oh, and I promise to be polite, as I have been in my other streams. While you're my guest, I won't insult you or drop sick burns or anything like that. Because look, I know you want to. You're practically obsessed. If I say stuff you don't like, boom, you're there. During Baring's stream, you were reading my timeline. When you tried to tell him about your new thing for the desktop version of Be Candid, this happened.
If you guys want to try it out, you can go to Be Candid. If you have a laptop, you can use that. Look for the random Be Censored group.
The what group?
For the random Be Censored group.
Really?
Be Censored group.
Be Censored is the name of the video I made about Candid.
Random uncensored group.
For anyone who doesn't know, I've spent the last week going back and forth with Candid's CEO on Twitter, and I can't stop. It's just too fun. I could make an entire video out of our dozens and dozens of exchanges, but I'll just show you a favorite of mine. So I got her to define the slander her bot would automatically be removing. And I said, no declarative offensive statements on Candid, lads. To which someone responded with a pornographic image saying, look, it's Amazing Atheist and Bindu ready. An image which, by the way, will in future be shown to me without warning. The CEO says, harmful opinions, you should retweet this. If I felt like it, yeah. Not into massive clits, though. Did the CEO of a company just tell you to retweet a picture of a massive clit? For what it's worth, this is deeply offensive, she says. Are you guys saying it isn't? Deeply offensive is subjective. I don't take offense to it at all. Fair enough. It's judged by what a majority of people do take offense to. So if majority of people decide to remove the Jews, it is morally upright to do it. Nice. Personally, my response to something like this would be just ignoring it or saying no and explaining more about what I was saying. This is how the CEO of Candid responds to that. Morality comes out societal norms. How do you define morality? Bindu, did you just justify the Holocaust? Nope. A large number of people actually find the Holocaust deeply objectionable. But if they didn't? And how did we get here? This person is the top dog at Candid. Fucking hell. Right, few more tasty bits of Baring's stream and I'll wrap this up. Let's look at what Candid's CEO says about them getting to check the ads YouTubers have been making for them.
We do get to see the video. We do get to look at it and we say, hey, you know what, is this video fine or not? In some cases, people have pointed out mistakes, factual mistakes, which have been made in a video. And, it's actually not this way, it's some other way. And it is reviewed by our marketing people. Sometimes mistakes have not been caught by them. And again, it is reviewed by our marketing people. Did we say, they look at it and they make sure that, it is at least factually and correct as much as possible. And the one that doesn't. Huh?
In case you couldn't hear that clearly, she says marketing checks the videos to make sure it's factually correct as much as possible. Is that really good enough for videos you're sponsoring, videos you're paying for, essentially native advertising Candid has bought? Why are Candid okay with a video like this that says something that just isn't true?
So Candid has these badges. Can you guys see them? There we go. So you can give people badges, and you see the one that says hater. If someone leaves a post that is mean and nasty and disgusting and using racial slurs and cursing people out and not encouraging dialogue, you can hit them with that hater badge. And if they get hit with the hater badge too many times, they get banned from the app. How fucking awesome is that? Like, kick your ass out of here. Like,
that's not true. You can't put badges on people, thank fuck. But at the same time, an ad that Candid have paid for says that's a feature. Why is that okay? Additionally, there are tons of these promo videos that don't have any disclosure in the video. There's even this ridiculously slimy video that calls itself a review and calls Candid the best new app or whatever, says nothing about it being a sponsored video in the video, and just has a line of text in the description. We know that Candid's marketing approves videos, and we know that at the very least they see them after they've been published. According to the CEO, why are they okay with this? When people ask me, so what's wrong with Candid? Why do you have a big problem with it being promoted everywhere to people who share your sort of audience? And I can't answer because what fucking isn't wrong with Candid? And the level of bullshit there is going to be very scary for anyone who signed a contract with a non-disparagement clause to point out, because they might get in trouble for saying it. Baring, I'll say again, was incredibly brave to do what he did, and I strongly recommend you watch his interview with the CEO. There is so much in there, including Baring pointing out someone who was representing them on the Product Hunt website, talking about the revolution coming for Meninists on the app. She says, "That's a joke." Then Baring points this product manager saying the same thing elsewhere seriously. And she says, "Oh well, his views don't represent the company." But he'd said it while representing the company before. And she just dodges it entirely. Why wasn't it serious before? The whole thing is a clusterfuck. Every aspect, how it works, the bot, the people running it are a mess. The people promoting it are a mess. The way they retaliate to criticism is a mess. And their own official ad is like South Park come to life.
Share freely in a community where trolls and bullies aren't allowed. Be authentic. Be real. Be candid.
They're so inconsistent that the guy they got to counter me has said something that could be used to mock them. Check this out. Here's a clip from Candid's own ad, and then something from Ahmed Sellout's sponsored video.
Everyone has opinions to share, but not all of our opinions are safe on social media.
My punions! They're censoring my punions!
Now I get it, that line's pretty funny. But on top of all this as well, we've got the same old lines we've seen 1,000 times coming from their CEO to justify restricting communication. Even when talking about YouTube chat where, last I checked, you can't post pictures. Candid is something that should be laughed at, not worked with for cash. Though, having said that, if you want to pay me to help you with your marketing, I have a great idea for a new slogan. How about, keep your hate speech off our Candid? But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.